Hello everyone and welcome to this week's history video. Today we'll be covering a beautiful historic landmark that provided a valuable resource for our community for nearly 100 years, the Collett Home for Orphans. This home was founded by Professor John Collett and Josephus Collett. It was opened by Charles W. Ward and originally overseen by Mr. and Mrs. A.R. Campbell. Mr. and Mrs. E.E. Randolph were in charge of the home thereafter. Alice Wright of Clinton, Indiana, writes this about the home in a source dated 1930 to 1940. The Collett's Home for Orphans is situated near the Vermillion and Eugene Township line, about 3.5 miles north of Newport, the county east on State Road 63. It was opened June 1902 and was founded by Professor John Collett and Josephus Collett, both deceased, but whose property had been divided so that it was possible to endow this home. It stands on a beautiful 400-acre tract of farmland. It is a handsome building, costing originally $20,000. The home was first opened by a superintendent who had been elected by the trustees of the Collett estate. His name is Charles W. Ward, with Mr. and Mrs. A.R. Campbell of Danville, Illinois, as the overseers and matrons. An bright orphan who lived in Vermillion County 6 months might be received and cared for. No idiots or feeble-minded. Children will be accepted. The building is 37 by 90 feet, and the rooms include library, reading rooms, and overseers' rooms. Toilet rooms and bathrooms are provided on both floors. An excellent kitchen and butler's room, a nursery, department for boys and girls, a sick room, a basement with laundry, dry room, vegetable cellar, and coal room, a large attic, where there is a playhouse and room for a ton of extra beds, complete with rooms for the home. The floors are hard maple and the rooms are finished in hard pine. A large porch extends over the entire frontage of the building, and a tract of columns 2 feet in diameter extend from the ground up in front of both stories, which are of Southern colonial style of architecture. Mr. and Mrs. E.E. Randolph are in charge of the home at the present time and have been there for the past 10 years. There are 10 children being cared for there. 2 of them graduated from the Cayuga High School this year. The home was heavily utilized, housing children who needed homes from 1885 into the 1990s. The reasons listed in these logs as to why the children needed the Collett home range from homelessness, being an orphan, having, quote, feeble-minded parents, needing living quarters to attend school, being, quote, helpless, having poor health, and having a parent in prison. The home was still in use in 1993 when Scott Zimmerman wrote this of the home in the November-December edition of the Indiana Preservationist. Child labor laws put self-sufficient youngsters out of work. Not many communities are lucky enough to have a private benefactor who sees to the welfare of orphan children. Vermillion County had just that with the brothers John and Josephus Collett, who in 1899 established the Collett Children's Home, a working farm in Newport. Though it has since, quote, sold the farm, the home continues its commitment to disadvantaged youth. The turn of the century heralded a child welfare movement that resulted in the juvenile court system, the visiting teacher movement, settlement house programs, and later the U.S. Children's Bureau, and the Boy and Girl Scouts. At that time, most children's homes were run by religious institutions. The Collett brothers, who were both bachelors, established a work farm that provided for the well-being of Vermillion County's orphaned youth. Initially, it also housed widows of Civil War veterans, though this changed when, quote, it was found that childhood and old age did not seem to agree one with the other, and the ladies had to leave the home, according to the Park Vermillion County history of 1913. The conditions upon which this orphans' home was founded were such that any bright orphan who had lived in Vermillion County 6 months might be received and cared for, but no idiots or feeble-minded children find a home here, save in special cases, the history says. Independently wealthy through interests in railroads and with no children of their own, the Collett brothers wanted to create a lasting memorial to themselves in fitting with their commitment to community. The endowment was arranged in 1891 and established when John died in 1899. Construction of the home started in 1900 and was completed in 1902 on 400 acres inherited from their father, Stephen Stevenson Collett. The farm included 2 barns, hog pens, chicken coops, and a dairy barn, quote, with an underground river that is pumped up and services the main house to this day, according to director Lee Avenatti. The property went all the way down to the banks of the Wabash. Quote, "I understand that the home was so well endowed financially that during the Depression it became the main lending institution for area farmers," said Avenatti. The home was established with $400,000 in 1891. That would be the equivalent of several million today. The main house, a three-story classical revival structure which opened in June of 1902, cost $20,000. The main part of the smooth red brick home measures 37 feet by 90 feet and includes a library, reading room, matron's and superintendent's office, and an overseer's room. A central rear wing housed a kitchen and butler's room, a nursery department, a sick room, and a basement with laundry, dry room, vegetable cellar, and coal room, plus, quote, "a large attic where there is a playhouse and room for 10 extra beds. The floors are hard maple and the rooms are finished in hard pine. Bedrooms are on the second floor and bathrooms are on both floors." A large porch extends across the entire front of the building. Fluted columns, which extend from the raised porch to the third floor gables, are 2 feet in diameter. The front entrance features double doors with a fan light, transom, and leaded glass side lights. Farming made the Collett home self-sufficient and developed strong moral character and work skills in the boys and girls who lived there. House parents provided leadership and direction. Chores were assigned according to age and skills. The children attended Cayuga public high schools. Avenatti said most children came to the home when they were 6 or older. Those not reclaimed by their parents usually stayed on until they were legally adults. Craig Jones, Vermillion County historian and a member of the home's board of directors, knows of the home quite well. Quote, "I grew up with many of the kids who lived there," he said. "I even plowed the bottomlands for them after I got out of the Army." Jones recalls that life at the home was like life on any farm. Quote, "They, the residents, were up at dawn like we all were, taking care of the animals. They had a herd of dairy cattle for milk and slaughter and a real nice herd of Angus cattle. What they didn't eat themselves they put up for the winter. It was essentially self-sufficient," Jones said. The self-sufficiency ended in the 1960s when the state changed child labor laws and prohibited institutions from slaughtering their own meat and providing their own milk. In essence, providing and preparing their own food. Quote, "They wouldn't even let them have their own garden," said Jones. At that point, the home sold, all but 28 acres to PSI, essentially selling the farm. All that remains today of the original home is one brick shed near the drive. The sale of the land allowed for the creation of the Collett Home West, a contemporary structure 50 yards from the 1902 structure. The new building serves most of the home's administrative needs. Collett Home was designed to house 25 children at the height of the Depression. 35 children lived under its roof. The home currently houses 21 children, 6 in the original building and 15 in the new building. Avenatti has applied for community-focused funds through the Department of Commerce to rehabilitate the aging structure. Though it is mostly intact and well kept by its residents, the guttering has begun to fail and details such as column capitals are deteriorating. It also suffers from unsympathetic changes such as paneling and dropped ceilings. Collett Children's Home now provides for few orphans in the traditional sense of the word. In today's society, the need lies with victims of abuse and neglect, delinquency, and drug abuse. The usual length of stay for children currently ranges from 9 to 18 months. Services include tutoring, group and family counseling, job placement, and training in independent living skills. Although the idealistic days of life on the land are gone, the Collett brothers would be proud that the institution they established still serves the troubled children of Vermillion County. But sadly, just after the new renovations would be completed, tragedy would strike. The Collett home would burn on July 24th of 1996. The events of the fire are covered in this article written by Mike Ricketts and Sonny Carey, published in the Clintonian the next day. A smaller home was erected afterwards to benefit the children still in need of the resources provided by the staff, but the loss of such a beautiful and important historic landmark that stood for nearly 100 years is deserving of our recognition. Thank you for watching.